Welcome to Newsmakers. I'm Andrew Donovan. This week, a rare, exclusive interview with the man who owns and operates Destiny USA, Pyramid Company's CEO, Steve Congel. We'll spend a lot of time talking about mall security, but I begin by asking about Destiny USA's precarious financial situation. IKEA is now part of the Destiny USA family.
Yeah.
How big is that addition to this property?
You know, it's huge. It's absolutely huge on multiple fronts for us. IKEA being one of the largest retailers in the world, international retailer, when they go into a community, it's a really big deal. They're an enormous draw. They're very unique in terms of how they do things. People get very, very excited about IKEA. So we're excited to have IKEA here because of all those reasons. We're also excited to have IKEA here because they saw Destiny USA as a fit for them, which obviously we did as well. So to us, it's verification that we're doing some things right here.
Sometimes there are headlines about the mall's financial status that make people really nervous. How do you respond to when people say, oh, the mall is dying?
It's not dying. It's not dying. Our industry has obviously gone through some turmoil, most recently heavily impacted by COVID and what it did to the tenants that occupy our properties and the ability for those tenants to stay open. Those were challenging times to get through that, and they created some stress and strain on our industry as a whole. We've suffered some of those similar pains. Now, we've worked through an awful lot of the issues with lenders, and we're closing a huge loan today on one of our properties, a several $100 million loan today, a new loan. So we're working through it all. It's difficult, it's challenging, and we're going to get through it all, just like our peers have, and we will as well.
People who really focus on this stuff can go to places like Bloomberg and Trepp, and they see a huge debt amount owed by Pyramid on the Destiny USA property. When you add that with the pilot agreement, what's owed, about $700 million, but then assess the property at $136 million. So when people see those numbers, are alarmed by them, how do you respond?
Well, listen, debt levels and values don't always sync up. Debt levels are constant, values go up and down as, economic conditions sway and flow. We're not worried about it because, we've been here for 35 years. We worked through other financial crises. The great financial crisis of 2008 and 9 was a very challenging time. We worked through it. We have a very strong vested interest in the ownership and management of this asset. This is our flagship asset. This is our hometown. We're going to do everything possible to ensure the financial security of this asset. And the lenders know that, and therefore they've been willing to work with us.
You have lost malls, Palisades, Hampshire, Aviation, Champlain, maybe Walden Galleria. So how do you save Destiny specifically with that track record?
Well, we've lost a few malls. Take a look at all of my peers in the industry. Everyone has lost malls. And it's a function of, it's a function of oversupply in our industry. The internet has had an impact. Consumer preferences have changed and have had an impact. There's an oversupply of malls in our industry. Sometimes as a mall owner, you have to make a difficult decision to let a property go, and we've had to do that a few times. But it's not uncommon in our industry, and I really think that chapter is behind us.
Are you comfortable with the vacancy rate here, or what's happening to attract new tenants, and at what point are you full?
No, I'm not comfortable with the vacancy rate here today. Those things ebb and flow. Again, we're still trying to recover from some of the losses that we incurred during COVID. It was very tough on retailers. Retailers, especially in some of the categories that I just mentioned, like food and beverage, entertainment, recreation. Those categories were hit extremely hard by COVID because there were some very strict limitations on capacity in those venues, operating hours in those venues. They had a very difficult time staffing, and unfortunately, a lot of them closed. We're still rebuilding from the impacts of COVID, but again, we feel very bright about the future of Destiny with everything that's going on in here in Syracuse. The draw that we have across a huge geographic region, we think we'll continue to maintain that and grow it. such as with the addition of IKEA.
When you have a debt load that high, how do you pay it back? How do you even imagine paying that back?
You just have to work with your lenders and come up with a solution that works the best for everybody. You know, you have to take a look at the facts and circumstances that we're all facing on both sides and come up what's the best solution for everybody. You know, people can take very harsh positions, but that typically, you know, hurts everybody, doesn't help everybody. Luckily, you know, we've demonstrated a strong commitment to this asset and all of our assets. And I think lenders realize that we're in it for the long haul, and we're going to stick with it.
Will Pyramid celebrate the Destiny USA anniversary of 50 and 70, doubling 35?
That's a lot of years from now to make that type of a promise, but I hope so.
Those questions were about financial security. Up next, I ask Steve Congel about shopper security at Destiny USA when Newsmakers continues. Newsmakers is back with our exclusive interview with Pyramid Company's CEO, Steve Congel. We next shift from financial security to shopper security. Black Friday is approaching. I'll never forget, I'm sure you won't either, 2019, the year before the pandemic, there was a shooting at Destiny USA on Black Friday. How is this mall safer than it was on Black Friday of 2019 and even 1 or 2 years ago?
Sure. It's a lot safer. We have been faced with a lot of the challenges that a lot of other properties of this scale, other communities, other geographic regions. You know, during the COVID timeline, there was a lot of social unrest across our country. A lot of times changed very dramatically for a lot of people. You know, what we had done up to that point was working, but because some things changed in our society, we had to adjust and pivot because of that. You know, again, we're a very high-profile property. We're the largest tourism attraction in Central New York. Millions of people come through this property every year, so it gets a lot of attention. And every little thing that happens here ends up on the evening news. We accept that fate. But, you know, we've made an awful lot of changes, both physical changes in terms of the systems and equipment that we use, how we structure our personnel, the type of personnel that we hire, and probably most importantly, the partnerships that we enhanced and developed during that period of time. We always have had a great relationship with the mayor's office. Ben Walsh has been a fantastic partner of Destiny USA. He and I speak frequently, and whenever we have faced these challenges, we've worked collaboratively. Recently, Joe Cecil from SPD has been a great partner of ours. DA Fitzpatrick has been a great partner. We've added to that community groups, Onondaga County Probation, New York State Police. We've really enhanced and built upon those relationships to collaboratively come up with the best solution for the challenges that we've been facing, and it's worked fantastically.
It sounds like a lot to handle when you're thinking about preventing random mass shootings, right? Those people with that mindset, gang violence from spilling from the city into the mall, which has happened. Also just normal retail problems of theft and burglary right from the stores. How do you tackle each of those pieces?
Well, you have to break it down. Obviously, keeping individuals, visitors to Destiny USA safe is priority number one. So whenever there are any concerns around that, that's obviously priority number one, making sure that you have the right people in the property to address any threats or concerns, and making sure that the people who perpetrate those concerns don't get in. And that's a difficult thing to do in a building of this scale. It's not like you can just close the door and keep everybody out. This is an enormous building. There's hundreds of ways in and out of this building by nature of what it is. But you have to break it down into pieces and address each of the concerns with the appropriate level of response and resources.
Even this year, there's been a slew of thefts and other reported incidents like that in this mall. And that's not just Destiny USA. That is every retailer everywhere. You're seeing retailers close because of that problem. How do you fight that one? Because that one seems to still be lingering.
Well, candidly, the numbers are down significantly. Just in the last 24 months alone, property crimes are down by over 50% on property here at Destiny USA. All crimes are down by over 75%. So the stats are relatively straightforward and black and white. We're very proud of those stats and back it up by all the things that we've implemented here. And I think, yes, there have been some incidents reported, but based on the millions of people that come through here on an annual basis, it's relatively minimal, certainly compared to what it was a few years ago. We feel very confident and proud of the success that we've had.
Retail theft is one thing, but violent crime is probably most scary to people. And anecdotally, it sounds like there's been a far fewer instances in this mall. What do you attribute that to? Keeping guns out, keeping people to do that kind of bad out of this property?
Well, I think what you have to do is establish a mentality in and around the community that if you're that type of person and if you're looking to do that type of act, this isn't the place to do it. You're going to get caught, you're going to get charged, and you're going to go to jail. And that's where the relationship and participation, like from SPD and the DA's office and the mayor's office, have been very, very effective, because not only have we collaborated with our relationships with each of them, but the systems and equipment that we've implemented here on site, after investing millions of dollars in all of it, everybody sees that it works. It wants to participate in a positive solution. So I think a lot of it has been just getting word out that, we're not going to tolerate that. We really have a zero tolerance policy on site for anybody who wants to create a disturbance or anybody who wants to threaten any other visitors to this property.
One thing you were resistant to when we spoke a few years back was metal detectors. And I know other malls have tried them and decided not to use them because of how maybe unrealistic it is to make a customer go through that at how many hundreds of doors. Is there one piece of technology that is able to detect weapons? Is it a layer of things? How do you make sure weapons are staying out?
I think the best way, using metal detectors it's just not practical. It's not feasible. There's so many ways in and out of the property, both to the public as well as all of our tenants. It would just be, it's completely physically impossible to monitor and control every way in, every way out. The best way to do that is to hire very well-trained staff who are very good at monitoring the visitors and being able to identify a subject who may be suspicious. And if so, make them aware to law enforcement and have law enforcement maybe check out the situation to see if there is a risk to either our property or our visitors.
In preparation for this interview, I've gotten to meet a lot of your security team. Speak to the group you've put together, people who are experienced from the industry, not necessarily the retail industry, but law enforcement, that you've brought here to help you deal with this.
Well, we have a great team here led by Tim Bragan. Tim joined us just over 2 years ago, and he has a background in the military and private security and some other fields. And he came in and quickly saw the situation that we were facing, and he was very quick to recommend some pretty significant changes and modifications to what we have been doing here on site, starting with the type of staff and personnel that we employ and that our vendors employ. And we gave Tim some latitude and go out and make some changes and some replacements. They've been very, very effective. They come from a different background, a different level of training, and their priority is always to diffuse situations. We're open to the public. We want to welcome visitors to come here and feel very comfortable being here, and therefore these people are trained to identify a situation that may be brewing, diffuse it, separate people, move people away, and keep be very proactive and preemptive.
As part of this interview with Congel, I was invited to go behind the scenes of Destiny USA's reformed security operation. Securing Destiny. Watch our full report on localsyr.com. Newsmakers is back after this. What does the customer see versus all the work that they don't see?
Well, there's an awful lot that goes on behind the scenes, a huge amount that goes on behind the scenes. We significantly upgraded our control and camera monitoring room. We've upgraded the cameras that are on site. We brought flock cameras on site. We have mobile units around the parking lots that we move around. You see those quite often in home improvement stores and other places like that. So it's a number of things that people see that we want to have be seen out to the face of the public. There's also a number of things that are best kept behind the curtain because you really don't want the bad element to know where everything is. And that's how we stop a lot of things before they even happen.
Are you comfortable sharing how much you've spent in improving security?
Millions.
10 million?
Millions.
One addition that you've listed are the flock security cameras, which are pieces of technology by some of the vehicular entrances that can actually read a license plate number. And if that license plate has been previously banned from the mall or flagged by the mall, it will alert mall security that that person has returned. The Syracuse Common Council is considering some legislation that would remove those being allowed in the city. I think there's still some detail to work, whether it would affect a private company like yours or it's just on public spaces. I know you're learning about this as it's developing. What would your opinion be about ensuring that those stay as part of what Destiny can consider as a tool for security? Well,
first, I think it's important to say that the cameras that we have here on site were funded by us and they're on our property. We have found them to be a very effective tool because we do believe they've done two things. One is when someone has been involved in a crime or some other rule violation on property, they get entered into the flock system. Therefore, if their vehicle comes back, we're alerted of it, and then we'll confront that person and remind them that they have a previous history here, and we'd prefer if they turned around and left. So that's the effect number one. Number two is, we've been purposely very public about the installation and effectiveness of those cameras, and I do think that's a difficult thing to measure, but I do think that the unwanted element knows that we have that system here, and therefore they stay away.
Did you see business or traffic dip at the height of people being concerned about security here, and have you seen it be restored?
That would be a very difficult thing to measure, whether there was any increase or decrease in business or traffic because of that issue. We see things, business and traffic ebb and flow, honestly, more based on economic conditions than that.
This is a rare chance where we get to speak to you about all these issues, and I appreciate the time. It's also a chance for you to tell your home community about all the work you're doing to keep them safe at Destiny USA. I'm giving you an open floor. What's your message to this community?
Well, I'm fourth generation Syracusan. My children live here. My granddaughter lives in this community. My mom shops at this mall. My siblings shop at this mall, nephews and nieces. This is our hometown. And as much as Destiny USA, we like to think is part of the community, it's also part of our family's fabric. I mean, 35 years this mall has been here. My father started Pyramid 55 years ago. We've been in this community for 140 years. We've been in this community, so many generations on both sides. We're very proud members of this community, and we like to think of Destiny as a very strong economic engine. It provides services, it provides benefit, it provides joy and relief and a purpose to this community. So there's an awful lot of pride for us in what we do here every day.
There was a day I could never imagine you sitting down with me to talk about security at Destiny USA.
It makes two of us.
What's changed?
Well, listen, I can't speak for you what has changed, but for me, at a time, probably at a time when there was an awful lot of turmoil and a lot of on-site disturbances that we were managing. We were getting hit with it just like everybody else was. And we were taking a beating in the media. We were really taking a beating in the media. And I do think we were being treated unfairly because we were just one of, how many communities, how many malls, how many properties that were facing the same challenges. And we were trying to figure it out. It was really an unprecedented situation that everybody was trying to face. And it was very difficult every night to turn on the news and see, here's another thing, somebody tripped and fell and nobody was there quick enough to pick them up. It felt like we were being treated unfairly. You and I, we spent some time together, and I think we got to know each other a little bit better, and I think developed a higher level of respect for each other. And that's why I feel comfortable sitting here with you today.
What's a dream tenant that you don't have yet for Destiny USA?
Well, we'll see.
Come on, gotta have a name.
No, I don't. I don't want to spill all the secrets.
Well, maybe someone you haven't engaged with that they're hearing for the first time.
Who would you like to see here?
Oh, now you're putting me on the spot. Wouldn't a Chick-fil-A kill it in your food court?
Yeah, Chick-fil-A would be nice. They're typically don't go into malls because they don't open on Sundays. And Sunday is a huge part of the business week at a mall.
How about a Vineyard Vine store?
Possibly.
Okay.
Possibly.
You asked me what I. That's what I would look for.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, Von Moore. Am I saying that right?
Von Mauer.
Von Mauer. I said it wrong, but I shop there sometimes.
Yeah. No, they're very nice stores. Very nice stores.
Anything? Any guesses? Okay. That's your secret, huh?
Not today.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the time.
My pleasure.
Thank you for the willingness to have some tough conversation. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
That does it for Newsmakers for this week. For all the hardworking people of News Channel 9, have a great weekend.
Download the WSYR Plus app on your TV to stream News Channel 9 for free. Just go to your smart TV, search WSYR Plus in the App Store, and download to start streaming today.